The AI powered loan officer, you are listening to the right episode if you wanted to know not only all things AI, but how does AI really help me practically in my business close even more loans and making it simpler in the process. I'm your host, Steve Kiles. You're listening to the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast. And today we've got a great friend and a special guest, Chris Johnstone. What's up, my man?
Steve, great to be here. How you doing?
Man, I am great and super excited to have you here on the podcast. We were together this last week in Tampa at our Freedom Club event, which is our top tier coaching program. We meet multiple times throughout the year to mastermind and share ideas that are helping us grow our business. And man, you presented this last week the AI powered loan officer. And I said, Chris, we got to get you on the podcast. The loan officer world and community have got to hear not only what you have to say, but what's so empowering is that you're a genius when it comes to AI. So, what is important to implement, how it impacts your business, and what's the first one or two, three or four steps? And you're going to share a part two series. So, if you're listening, this is part one. There are four takeaways. He's going to share the first two in this episode, and he's going to do three and four in the next episode. You're not going to want to miss either one of them. So, Chris, we're excited to have you. You are literally leading the field when it comes to AI, and you're fully integrated into the mortgage marketing animals and our process and systems and structure. And so, what you've done is really taken the old school process and added the new school technology to give us even more results. So excited to have you, brother.
I am just thrilled to be here, Steve. Thank you so much. It was such an honor to be invited to the Freedom Club event, and I think what we've created is super special.
Oh, I agree, man. I'm so excited. If you're listening, get to a place where you can take notes. We're going to have some call to action where you can literally learn more right now about how to implement AI effectively in your business. So, Chris, talk to us about being the AI powered loan officer.
Yes, absolutely. So, what I did when I was putting this presentation together is we took the mortgage marketing animals system, the daily success plan, and everything that works. I've been around the mortgage marketing animals for 15 years. I have never seen the daily success plan not work. The only thing that stops is people don't make the calls, people don't actually do the follow up.
Isn't that funny?
So, and when we got really heavy into AI, the number one question that I would get over and over and over is like, where do I start? There's 150 tools a day being
Yeah.
released in the AI space, completely overwhelming because people are seeing all of this change. They feel like they're being left behind. And they say, how do I take all this stuff and apply it to the mortgage industry? So for the Freedom Club, what I wanted to do is this is where you start. Take AI, do this, get customers, make money, then grow from there. Once you have these fundamentals of artificial intelligence layered in your business, then the sky's the limit. But what we have to do is we have to implement actual customer getting processes and then grow from there. And that's really what created the AI powered loan officer because it's the best of the mortgage marketing animals
Yeah.
with a system that does a lot of the activities for them, leveraging AI.
Without any of the hesitation, the fear, the anxiety. It just does it. I mean, and it doesn't have a feeling or an emotion, or it just says, okay, what do you want me to execute? And then it begins to execute on your behalf. And that's so powerful.
It is absolutely incredible. So what we're going to get to is we have taken the emails and the text messages and everything and automated it all. So there's a power dialer that we've created. You go into the power dialer, you make your calls on the days that you're supposed to make them. And if people don't pick up, the AI detects that. And then it automatically sends a follow up email, automatically sends a text message, automatically puts people into this process. But the really cool thing that we figured out is when somebody responds back, whether it's a past customer, it's a pre approved and looking, it's a qualified realtor, anybody, when they respond back to one of these automated processes that are running in the background, we've actually taken AI and applied it to that. So the AI writes the responses back to those people. And then you just simply get a message and click a button to approve it so that AI is actually having the conversations and converting people for you and using smart links so that people click on the link and book a time on your calendar without you actually having to be involved in the process. Crazy cool.
Love it, man. Hey, and for those of you who are listening, we also have this on YouTube at the Mortgage Marketing Animals, because Chris is going to show us PowerPoint. So if you're wanting to watch along with a PowerPoint, go to YouTube Mortgage Marketing Animals, look up the AI powered loan officer, and the episode will come up. So, man, I love that.
So before we get to that, we've got to back up. We got to go back in time and actually look at the evolution of artificial intelligence. So the CEO of Google has come out and said AI is more important than fire or electricity. And if you think about that, Google arguably has the most data of any company in the world. And their CEO has come out and made that fundamental of a statement. We are living through right now one of those changes where it was like before smartphones and smartphones, like pre-internet and post-internet.
Mm-hmm.
We're literally going to live in a world 2 years from today that's fundamentally different than the way that we work and the way that we understand right now. And I'm on a massive mission to empower loan officers because I believe there's going to be two loan officers in the future. There's going to be an AI powered loan officer, and then there's going to be the loan officers that are trying to catch up.
Yeah.
And that's just it. And so I think Google shows us that. And the AI race is on in a big way. All of the largest companies in the world have AI at the forefront of growth. It is the tip of the spear. It is what they are investing all of their money, time, and investments into at this point. So OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT and a lot of these other really cool tools that people are using, they are now a $29 billion valuation. And Amazon just invested $4 billion in one of their competitors called Anthropic.
Mm.
If you're listening to this, very recently, the CEO of OpenAI was fired by the board of directors. It caused this massive shakeup in the AI world. Within 2 days, it was announced that Microsoft had hired him and brought him in along with a bunch of their lead developers. Microsoft is thrilled because they've invested billions of dollars into OpenAI, and they now have the founder and the creator of this thing on at Microsoft. So if you look at Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and all of these major companies, everybody is putting this at the forefront because the winner of this is going to be the one that takes the market share. So if you look at what artificial intelligence can do in today's world, I'm not future casting this at
Yeah.
all. This is present technology. So you can go to Las Vegas, open up the Uber app, and hail a self-driving car. A car without a driver will come, pick you up, drive you around Las Vegas using the Uber app. That is currently active in 47 cities around the globe. It is forecasted 37% of all the cars by 2035, Steve, are going to be AI powered and self-driving.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's a company in that's traded on the Hang Seng stock index,
Mm-hmm.
like a massive company, over $1 billion valuation for this company. They fired their CEO. Since firing the CEO, their stock is up over 10%. It is out of the top 10 stocks in the Hang Seng index, it is in the top 10. And it's not even run by a person anymore.
They fired the CEO and they put in AI as the CEO of the corporation. Dude,
Crazy.
man.
But
Yeah.
if you think about it, what does
Yeah.
a CEO do? They input data
Yep.
from the organization, the financials, the org chart, all of that stuff, and then they make
Mm-hmm.
forecasting decisions so that people can actually run teams and run the business effectively. It's actually the perfect task for AI to be doing. And if you haven't heard, I know, Steve, you have, but for many of our listeners here, like AI can do mortgages now. So there are a couple of really fast movers, and we're working in this space as well. But it was announced in the Miami Herald that the world's first 100% AI controlled and executed house purchase was processed by Morgan. So it's coming to the mortgage industry. If you look at underwriting a file and taking all of the documents and inputs that you need to figure out whether somebody is approvable and to actually fund a loan to that person, that's a task that AI can do. Now, meeting with past customers, building relationship and getting referrals, AI is not quite there yet, right? Meeting with realtors, building a bond, getting referrals and growing the business, AI is not quite there yet. But getting deals into the pipeline and funding deals, it gives you scale. So this is
Yeah.
phenomenal for the
Yeah.
mortgage industry.
Mm-hmm.
So our number one takeaway is that there are going to be two types of loan officers very soon: AI powered loan officers and everyone else that is struggling to catch up. It's Steve, do you remember going around and talking to realtors about building websites?
Oh yeah.
And they were
Yeah.
like, why do I need a brochure on the internet when I can just give people a brochure? I feel like that's where we're at in the conversation about AI. And I don't want our listeners to be left behind,
Mm-hmm.
where now is the time to take action. Now is the time to start working with these tools because it's going to be the future.
And rapidly, because it continues to evolve and change. You were saying every 6 to 9 months, like major advancements are already taking place.
Oh, it's crazy how fast. So if you look at ChatGPT
Yeah.
3.5,
Yeah.
when it came out, it had an IQ of 16.
1.6.
1.6.
Yeah.
364 days later, one
Yep.
day less than a year, ChatGPT 4 came out. They didn't really do a huge news release about it, but ChatGPT 4 came out. They tested it, and it had an IQ of 160.
And that's significant because that's the IQ of.
Einstein.
So in 1 year,
Yeah.
went from 16 to 160.
Yeah.
Man, that's wild.
And the thing that gets me about it is it's general artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not Einstein's IQ, because Einstein was brilliant at physics.
Yes.
But he was like, if you were to take Einstein and line him up on, writing poetry or writing music, he's not going to be a Mozart, right? But ChatGPT is an IQ of 160 across everything,
Mm-hmm. Wow.
which when you get that, like, it can drive a car. There's AI being implemented very, very well in the healthcare space, where AI assisted surgeries are a huge thing. AI is reading scans at like a 99% effectiveness rate. Like, they get the diagnosis right 99% of the time, when
Wow.
humans are at 50%.
Wow.
But they
Yeah.
can scan 10
Yeah.
times more scans
Mm-hmm.
in a day.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some incredible efficiencies. But, anyways, let's take it back to the mortgage industry. So, a problem that we have always had in the mortgage industry is lead conversion. Converting our past customer database, because maybe we send out a campaign and people respond back. And if you've done it at any type of scale, like more than 50 people at a time, you can't get back to everybody that reaches back out to you that has an opportunity for you. So instant communication is really tough. But then if you take and you apply that to lead generation, there are some incredible studies that we're going to look at here in just a second, where instant communication is key to all conversion on all communication. And that has been impossible to do up until this point. So we have up on the screen here a study that was published in the Harvard Business Review. And here it shows that the response time on a lead, if you're within 5 minutes of responding to a lead and you wait until 10 minutes, the response time decreases by 10 times. Okay. So let's say we have 100 leads that come in.
Yeah.
So if you contact them within the first 5 minutes, it's 20 opportunities. If you contact them after 10 minutes, it's less than 5 opportunities.
Mm.
So if we look at the number of people that you talk to equals the number of applications that you take, that number doesn't really change. Well, the more conversations you can have, the more applications you're going to take, right? Instant communication is key to conversion. Now, here's the really cool thing. In the same study, they took a look at the amount of times that the average salesperson actually reaches out to a lead. And so if you make 6 call attempts to a lead, your conversion rate goes up by 90%.
Wow.
So if you get 10 leads, that's the difference between 1 conversation and 9 conversations, right? But most people don't call their leads within the first 5 minutes, or don't get back to people within the first 5 minutes, and they certainly don't follow up with 6 phone calls. In fact, the data goes on to show us that only 30% of salespeople make the first phone call, which is crazy because that means 70% of salespeople never actually call their leads or
Wow,
call.
that's crazy. Yep.
Crazy. But if you go back and look at how many they actually reach out to, if you look at, by the time we're at 3 follow-up calls, it's less than 10% of sales people that follow up. If we go all the way to that critical 6th phone call, it is less than 3% of sales professionals will make 6 follow-up calls. Yet 90% of the response happens at that 6th call rate. So we know if you can contact your leads in 5 minutes and follow up at least 6 times on every conversation that you have, you get a 90% boost on the front end and a 90% boost on the back end. Now, I'm huge on data. I believe that math is the solution to almost everything. If you put more into the top of the pipeline and you track your metrics through the pipeline, you'll just get more out the bottom. So, but I like to make this stuff practical. And so I went and I took this system and I applied it to one of the largest online lead generation companies in the mortgage space. They brought me in as a consultant, and I implemented some of the systems that we're talking about here in their business. Mainly, we followed up on their leads in 5 minutes, right? And we followed up at least 6 times. Well, in the first 90 days, right, we took their lead to appointment ratio from 12% to 20%. So that means of all the leads that they generated, they went from
Yeah.
booking 12% of them to appointments to 20% of them with appointments. And then the follow up from there, we converted 165 extra closed funded deals in 90 days, which created $580,000 in revenue.
Wow. Yeah.
And the crazy thing, no new leads. That's all from existing leads that were already coming in.
Hey, and you know what we talk about, Chris? I think about the two C's. When if you're a branch manager listening, or an owner operator, or even have a mortgage team, the two C's are: how do I increase my conversion, and how do I reduce concessions? And this has probably one of the biggest implications: is you're converting more of what you've already got by simply doing what most people aren't willing to do because they don't feel like it, they don't want to, they don't, it's not in their schedule. But AI is filling the gap. I mean, from lead to appointment, from 12 to 20%, that's an 8% increase in conversion. That's significant. And it's by simply taking the human part out that's not needed to keep the lead moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy. And if you go from like 10% to 20%, you're doubling, right?
Man, that's
So
huge. Yeah.
it's, it's massive. Now, I look at this from a potential perspective because everybody says, okay, in the mortgage industry, what's the first thing I should focus on? And it is instant communication with your
Mm.
past customers, with your referral partners, people that have already sent. How many of you listening here over the last 2 years have realtors, financial planners, investment
Oh,
advisors,
yeah.
insurance advisors, divorce
Yeah.
attorneys, all those people that have sent you a deal, but you haven't reached out to them in the last 60, 90 days? Take 45 minutes, get all of those names, emails, and phone numbers, put them into a campaign, reach out to them, and instantly respond back to them when they respond back to you. Your past customer database, you're pre-approved in lookings. There's so
Wow.
much low-hanging fruit sitting in
Yeah.
every single mortgage business out there right now. So for those listening, they can't see the campaign that we've got pulled up on the screen. But what it does is it shows that we've got leads coming in at the top of this funnel, and they can be triggered in any way. My favorite is by following the daily success plan. So you make your phone call using a power dialer that we have inside the system, and then the power dialer can tell, did you talk to this person or did you not? If you didn't talk to the person, it assigns them to a user inside the system. So if you're a branch manager, it's probably going to assign it to one of your loan officers that's following up on that lead. But if it's just you, sole producer, lead goes to you, then it sends out an email. Then it waits, says, did the customer reply? No, they didn't. Okay, great. Send them a text message. Wait, did they reply? Yes or no? If they don't respond, send them another message. Send them another message. It's that the 6 follow-ups that has to happen happens automatically. You never have to touch it. You never have to do anything with it.
Mm.
It's just automatically going to get you to that point where you're going to get the 90% response rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
We automated that. But the really cool thing and where AI is just going to transform the mortgage industry and the people that we're working with specifically, did the customer reply? Yes. Check this out. Send a prompt to ChatGPT and get a response. So in here, we have a prompt and we're easily over 100 hours in prompt engineering for all the different campaign types that line up with the daily success plan. So we've got one for the database, we've got one for pre-approved and lookings, we've got one for each of the different, basically we've identified 12 different pathways of business. Each one has a different AI bot, let's call it, that goes along with it.
Yeah.
So inside this bot, it basically says, and I'll share the prompt here in just a second, but basically it says, okay, AI, this is the company that you work for, and here's all the information about us. Here's your role in this conversation in your job, and here's how we speak to our customers, and here's how we want you to generate this response back.
Mm.
So we've sent out a message that we already know is going to work because it's based on the daily success plan. Somebody responds back to that message. It doesn't go to you for you to sit and craft the message. It goes to ChatGPT. ChatGPT writes the message to go back to the client, whether it's an email or a text message. And then it sends you an internal notification, which is an email or a text message. And it says, here's what your client said. Here's what ChatGPT has said. If you approve this message, click here. If you click that button, it automatically gets ChatGPT to send the message to the client and have that conversation.
Mm.
If you don't like it, that's an opportunity to train your prompt and your AI inside your system. So you take it, you say, okay, this is what the client said. This is what you said. This is how you should say it. And
Mm.
the AI never forgets, never calls in sick, never has a fight with anybody. You know, it's just perfect every single time. Once you give it that information once, it's got it. And Steve, you know this far better than I do. There's probably only like 10 or 12 conversations
Oh
that
yeah. Yeah.
happen
Yeah.
over in the mortgage business.
Yeah. Well, and that you think it's hundreds and different conversations, but it's really probably, I'd say 10 on the high side, maybe 15. And when you train the AI to respond to those 10 or 15, that's 99% of what you're going to get.
Yeah. So you spend 30 days with this thing,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, you're putting out responses that are better than a personal assistant could
Oh
do
yeah. Yeah.
automatically and instantly to those past clients. Because the one thing that I didn't share in there is that little message that gets sent back that says, like, this is what the client said, this is what ChatGPT said. If you approve it, click here. You can take that out of the sequence.
Mm.
And once you train this prompt and you're like, okay, the last 25 times or 30 times it's been perfect, you can just take that step out. And all of a sudden, all your emails and all your text messages to
Man.
everybody in your business are automatic, taken care of by AI. And all you have to do is watch in the background as you are going from appointment to appointment to appointment, because it's got smart booking links. And these people in these conversations are just sending referrals or booking into your calendar, or you're meeting with realtors. It just automatically fills your calendar for you. It's incredible.
Mm.
It's crazy.
Super powerful, man. It's a game changer.
It most certainly is. So that's a lot for people to take in at this point, Steve. I think, the fact that AI is taking over, driving cars, healthcare, mortgages. There's this big tech. I digress on the word battle, but I really do think it is a battle of who's going to lead this AI race. And knowing now that we can take a small portion of that and apply it directly to the mortgage industry and each of the different ways, I think this is probably a good point for us to sit down and say, okay, let's take this new knowledge,
Yeah.
go check out some resources, and then come back for episode number 2. So
I
I
love
will
it.
give a resource if that's
Okay.
okay.
Let's do it. 100%.
So we've got a page set up, and it's loanofficercrm.ai/LOLP.
I
So
love it.
Loan Officer Leadership Podcast. And what I've done is I've created a video there for your listeners that like demos how this thing works, because me, I'm a visual guy, and seeing it and hearing it is two totally different things. So we've put that there to help people take that next step with AI.
I love it. Hey, so if you're listening today and you're saying, man, my mind is blown, I've got to see more. What is Chris talking about? Go to loanofficercrm.ai/LOLP, LOLP, which stands for Loan Officer Leadership Podcast. So loanofficercrm.ai/LOLP. And Chris put together a full demo for you. For you to be able to see, you said something earlier, and I actually took a screenshot of it. I absolutely love this. There are two types of loan officers. There's going to be two types of loan officers very soon: the AI-powered loan officer and everyone else that is struggling to catch up. The reason Chris is on this podcast is because we believe when you couple the proven tactics and strategy, heck, some of my scripting and Carl's scripting and the sales and what we're doing on our theme days, and you couple that with the power of AI. See, the challenge, Chris, is that it's such a noisy topic. People are like, how do I implement it practically? Well, if you want to see, like this other company Chris was running models with, grow your conversion by 8 or more % simply by having someone else follow up, i.e. AI, that doesn't get tired, doesn't get cranky, doesn't talk back, doesn't not show up for work, then go to loanofficercrm.ai at /LOLP. Check out the resource for our listeners. And Chris, I'm excited. We're going to jump on another episode here coming up this next week. So make sure to stay tuned for this next episode, the AI powered loan officer part 2. And all right, go to the website, loanofficercrm.ai /LOLP. And we'll see you on the next episode. Remember this: anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.